Hi everyone, I'm Spoiler. Today I want to tell a story about a car accident that saves the world. The man is a genius surgeon who has a bad face all day and thinks that all other doctors are mentally retarded. One day, the genius was reading a medical report whilst driving. As a result, the car accidentally bumped into the mountain wall, causing him to slip out of control, rolling down the mountain and falling into the river, causing him to be seriously injured and unconscious. Although the man was later rescued, the car accident shattered his hand bones. Even if it was healed, there will be sequelae. It seemed that his hands would uncontrollably tremble continuously, so that he couldn't continue working as a doctor at all. Then he tried to find some medical experts to discuss how to restore his hands to their previous state. But everyone told him that his hands could not be repaired. Sorry, who told you to drive inattentively? But the man did not give up hope. He found out that a master might be able to help him, so he spent all his wealth to find this person. Finally, on this day, the main character met a man who was wearing a cloak to keep warm because it was so cold. He came and told him that I heard you were looking for the bald master. It just so happened that I also knew the bald master. It's really a coincidence. I will take you to the bald master. So the male protagonist successfully came to the home of the bald head where the bald master lived, and then the bald master punched the male protagonist's soul out of the body. Begin to explore the infinite universe, and then explain simultaneously that people actually have souls, and the universe is actually infinitely many. And we can use the power of the soul and other universes such special energy. This is the so-called magic. And through magic, you may be able to find a way to stop your hands from shaking erratically. After that, the male protagonist worshipped the bald master, and stayed at her home to learn magic with other apprentices. Since the protagonist was said to be a genius at the beginning, his progress is very good and he can immediately become a powerful magician. The reason why a good person is good is because he has the desire to learn more and become stronger. The protagonist sneaked into the library one night and wanted to take a peek at some of the banned books in the Baldy's house and wanted to learn more powerful magic. The reason why these banned books were not burned was definitely because they were left for others who come to take a peek. Then the main character finds that the library has a treasure that can be obtained at will, the time controller. The banned books also happen to teach you how to use them. So the male protagonist learned the time control technique that uses the time controller to control the time. So the main character uses time control to control one of the missing pages in the book, and it has been restored to the state before it was lost. Then the protagonist saw that the content of the banned book on this page actually stated that there is a dark universe in the infinite universe, and there is the power that can make people immortal. At this moment the librarian who just went to urinate told the main character that he was behaving badly. How can you peek at the taboo books? But since you read it, we won't punish you anymore. I also told you that in fact, the dark dimension has always wanted to invade the earth. So there are a total of 3 bases in our bald house. A protective shield like magic is formed on the earth to prevent some bad guys in the infinite universe. At this time, the guard of the second base of the bald head's home ran from the portal to the first base where the man is located, wanting to ask for help. There is a man named Great Demon who wants to gain eternal power, invaded to the second base. The devil used magic qigong bombs from the second base to fall into the base where the man is from the portal and want to blow up this side. As a result, he only accidentally blasted the main character to the portal of the third base. Anyway, it was all coincidences. So when the big devil used teleportation magic to attack the third base and then killed the bald man who was guarding the base, of course the main character has to come over and help. Started to fight the big devil. Can't beat a smart magic cloak twice. Just to think that the male protagonist looks very handsome and smart, but following him, he fits with the male protagonist. Begin to fight against the big devil together. So the big devil was caught by the man using a collection capture device in the third base. But the great demon King Chu explained that he was also a master's apprentice before. But in fact, the master gains the power of immortality, he must have the power of this dark dimension and he just doesn't teach his apprentices. That's why I stole the dark dimension page of the forbidden book. I want to use the forbidden technique to summon the dark dimension, and use his eternal life power to make all human beings gain immortality. Do you want to help me? Suddenly, the devil's men came and attacked the main character. He was seriously injured, but fortunately, the smart magic cloak helped suppress the opponent. Let the man take the opportunity to cast spells using any door, fly to the hospital to find his ambiguous colleague and Menine for help. As soon as the Menine saw it, she taught him without asking why. Anyway, the man is cured. Simply explain the situation to the Menine, and then use any door to return to the second base. Finding that the big devil is gone, then the master leads his companions to see the male protagonist. So the main character asked whether the bald master really had used the power of the dark dimension to gain immortality. But he didn't teach them. The master only said that there is no immortal power in the dark dimension, but there is no such thing as time in the dark dimension. Anyway, it's very difficult to explain briefly. If you believe in the master, don't ask too much. Then prepare to fight the big devil. After speaking, she left, and then the Great Demon King brought people back to continue to destroy the third base. At this time the man uses magic to drag everyone into the magic mirror world that overlaps the real world but will not affect each other, so as to prevent the big devil from actually destroying the third base of this world. Then the main character could fight and walk in the mirror world because he couldn't beat the big devil, and it didn't take long for the master to come to support him. In a high-altitude duel with the big devil inserted a knife into her body unsuccessfully, and then the big devil dropped it from the mirror image back to the real world, causing her to fall to death. When the main character saw this, he rushed back to the real world, and the master rushed to the hospital. But the male protagonist found the master's soul and left the body. So the main character is about to become a soul, and he catches up and asks her what she is doing. He told him that a badly injured body would easily die if it loses its soul, but the master only said to himself that I had learned many terrible spells, like temporary immortality and foreseeing the future. Later I discovered that these spells would make people lose themselves, so I banned these spells. I once saw that my future was destined to die here today. Then I knew that life has meaning only because of death, so there is no such thing as immortality in this world. More importantly, I found that foreseeing the future means that you cannot see your future, so it means that you become a protagonist, because your future has unlimited possibilities. If you can save the world, I will leave it to you. Then the master died. Then the big devil, who had no one to win, finally destroyed the Earth's protective cover created by the Baldy Master. Use the Dark Dimension Summon mentioned in the banned book to come to the Earth. I think that in this way, everyone on the Earth can obtain the power of the Dark Dimension eternal life. But he didn't know that the purpose of the Dark Dimension was to devour the Earth. The Dark Dimension is to eat more creatures that are afraid of death, the stronger he will be. Anyway, in the end the main character is looking for the Dark Dimension alone. That's right, the Dark Dimension was originally a creature. Then the male protagonist uses this time controller that can arbitrarily back and forth between time and space with time manipulation techniques to lock himself in the Dark Dimension in an independent time that will repeat itself. Then threatened it to take its believer, the Great Demon King, to leave the Earth, or the two of them would stay together at this moment forever. Of course, the Dark Dimension initially didn't intend to deal with the main character, but when he discovered that no matter how many times he killed the main character, the time with the main character would return to persuade him, and had left Earth without killing the main character. Later, the Dark Dimension finally couldn't stand it and sucked away the Great Demon King and his men. Then he was about to leave the Earth and the male protagonist returned to the Earth, using time control techniques to restore the Earth destroyed by the Dark Dimension to its original state. Except for the male protagonist fighting with his companions, other humans don't know what's going on. Time control is really great. In the end, the main character decides to inherit the Master's will, and the story of protecting the Earth's peace ends temporarily. After reading this story, we have learned a way to test whether you are a genius. If a genius doesn't concentrate on driving, he has a chance to become an archmage. If he is not a genius, he has a chance to become a handicap.